Hi there, Russ Douglas 222, as you can see. So, farmer gave me a cry for help. He's just been prepping the hay barn and the grain barn ready for the next crop. Washed the place out, no problem, spotless. The very next day, full of rat jobbies. So, he called me to come and clear out the rats. So, I started on the hay barn last night. I opened the door, looked in, and then it was almost dark and could see with the naked eye 2 or 3 rats. So, I went indoors and sat down. Let me show you my new seat. So here we are, the new seat is very light. Very light, as you can see. 3 different height adjustments, and it folds flat. It's not waterproof, and I won't be using this one if I rejoin Stuart from Vermin Control Scotland channel at his undisclosed location to shoot more hordes of rats, because this one I do not want to be in 6 inches of mud. But it's perfect for this location. So I was able to sit on here last night, and literally it's as easy as this. I grab my mobile phone, open the app, plug in the thermal spotter, and it takes a few seconds to boot up. If I record this right now, then you'll see, I'll put the footage in the corner here of what I'm recording as you're recording, but over there in the distance, here we go, that's where the rats, there were a couple of rats in the grain pile here, and when I came in they scooted through and they went through to the grain barn. So I'll show you what I discovered down here. I came over here. First, there's a piece of wood at the end here, which is perfect little zero check for the Stellar thermal scope. And I did a couple of shots, which you'll see in my video, and then moved over here. And from experience, this door is never used, and I know there are sometimes rats just under here. So I literally poked the thermal equipped mobile phone, you can see here, poked it over the side and filmed a couple of rats that were just the other side of this hardboard. I couldn't shoot them because I couldn't get the angle on them, they were too close. But also, this is something you couldn't really do with a spotter, handheld spotter. Using the E20's compact size, you see this hole here in the wall? I was able to film through here, as you can see, exactly as I'm doing here, and literally had a look through, and I could see the barn looked empty, but I thought there'll be more to it than that, because I had just seen 4 rats scoot through. So I packed up in here, went next door, knowing that my rifle zero was spot on. So remember, this is just about pitch darkness by now. I crack open these doors, and the barn is empty, but there are rats in there. I scanned with the Explorer E20 spotter and saw 1 rat in the far corner, but I knew there were others in here. So as quietly as I could, I slip inside with the Stellar scope equipped Airmaks Krait around my neck, my handy spotter in my pocket, and the new seat I just showed you, and the usual trigger sticks ready to use inside. Let me show you. So I set the seat up right here, a few meters inside the barn, and knowing that I've got about 30 meters to one corner, maybe 35 to the other corner. Scanning with the E20, it might not yet record sound, but it was brilliant. I had to put my reading glasses on, because I'm getting old, in order to focus on the screen, because if you imagine this is so wide angle, 35 meters, a small rat is quite a small white blip in white hot mode. But basically, for the next 3 or 4 hours, I was able to spot and shoot multiple rats, and I would just take my time, put the phone back in my pouch and my Galbraith smock, jackpike smock, drop the phone in here with the thermal, shoulder the rifle, sitting down on the stool with the trigger sticks, and just work my way around and just take my time shooting rats as and when they appeared. And I eventually lost count, but I think going through the footage, I think I shot about 35. So that bag over there, there's 20 dead rats in that bag for the farmer to dispose of. So he can see I'm doing a good job. This spotter really proved its worth. It obviously didn't illuminate my face too much, even with the reflection on my reading glasses, because with it being 30-35 meters to the rats, none of them were spooked. I did see one or two sniffing the air, looking towards me at times, but that was probably because I'd just shot the rat they were stood next to. But they couldn't see what the hazard was. And all I do, because I've got my Phoenix HM65R Shadowmaster head touch on, as always, I flip it on low onto a red light whenever I wanted to reload the magazine of my crate in my lap, and then put the light off, quietly get myself sorted, and keep on shooting the rats. I might be back in a night or two, and we'll see if there are any more to be shot. But I think 35 plus rats shot, I think that will have really dented the population, especially as they're not even supposed to be in here this time of year because it's the middle of summer. And the rats normally desert these barns until it gets cold. So anyway, so that's a wee blog. And if I move around here, you'll see over my shoulder here, in the far corner, you'll maybe recognize a few of these nooks and crannies that I have shot rats many, many times before with night vision or thermal equipped rifles. Very, very successful kit. And I didn't really miss the Griffin GH35L spotter, because knowing the ranges, the E20 was all I needed to avoid having to constantly shoulder the rifle, have the extra weight of that in my hands. This was handy enough. So at the moment, when I want to scan around generally, I can lift up the rifle, scan back and forth, and I can also just pivot it around and scan to the sides. But the Explorer makes things a lot easier here, because as long as I put my glasses on, I can press record, focus on the object, scan around, and the rats stand out really well at night. I can also scan right off to the right without having to turn around, because this new stool doesn't rotate. Scan around, and I'm not holding a heavy rifle. And then when a rat does appear, drop the phone in the pouch, raise the rifle, and shoot the rat. So let's get on to the rat footage. As you can see, the new Airgun technology Airgun 2 compact prints with the double bottles is very space age, especially with its carbon fibre stock. And yeah, let's just say it works very well on the rats last night. The seat is rectangular, the seat itself, so I can reach a bit of it on both sides, but still I've got to be careful when getting up. So very graceful. Cheers.